Good morning and welcome back to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac, president of Roby Electric. Trent Haston is out of town this week, so we were joined by Christian McCall, director of marketing for the Roby family of companies. Christian, we are back to segment 2 here. We have Chris Weber from Make-A-Wish. If you've listened to Chris, is a seasoned vet on At Home with Roby. I think this is your fourth time, maybe?
I think fourth.
Fourth time. Mm-hmm. And we have already clarified with him several times that he is not the Chris Weber that played at Michigan and called a timeout Carolina fans in 1993.
I think we do that every show with Chris, yeah.
I think you have to. Yeah. I mean, especially we talk about sports.
So there's no confusion, yeah.
Right. He's not the same Chris Weber, but I know Carolina fans will probably perk up every time they hear that name. So, Chris, we're talking about the Trailblaze Challenge. I know we had a show back April of 16 where you came on and you kind of told us what was going on. Was that the first one that we did here in Charlotte or in the area of the Trailblaze Challenge?
That was not our first hike. That was the first time we talked about it here.
Okay. Just
our
make
first,
sure I clear that up.
Yeah, our very first hike that we did was back in May of 2013.
Wow.
So we've been doing them for between 3 and 4 a year since 2013. So this will be our 12th hike that we're doing here in May.
Okay.
And you do 2 in May.
We do 2.
Correct?
We do one in May, end of May, May 19th through the 21st, and then one in June 2nd through the 4th.
Okay, cool.
And so for those that aren't familiar with what the Trailblaze Challenge is, of course, we all know we have all the paperwork here of what's going on. Give us sort of the rundown. What exactly is this?
So in essence, it's a 28.3-mile one-day hike. And what we do is we have some information meetings in the next couple of weeks that we recruit participants to come out to. We talk a little bit about the program, the hike itself, everything that goes into the hike. And then we train our hikers for about 16 weeks from February 11th all the way through up into that hike weekend. And we get our participants physically prepared to hike 28.3 miles in one day.
You kind of consider it a couch
hike? We have
Okay.
we designed the training program to be kind of a couch to marathon style program where we start with about a 2-mile hike and we work you up every other week to you're about a 23-mile hike.
Wow. So to prep for the show, I listened to the April show. At the time, I was not the host of At Home with Roby. And Christian had mentioned, I'm going to pick on you a little, Christian. Before that show, she had mentioned that she had hiked Crowder's Mountain a half-mile up and a half-mile back.
Yes.
And you thought you were ready for the Trailblaze Challenge, right?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. Somehow we got lost on the way back down and disaster. So,
well, sorry to open up that wound.
yeah, I would definitely need to be a part of every single training hike that you guys did to make sure
She's
I was
having
ready.
flashbacks.
Yeah.
Well, 28.3 miles. I mean, Chris, I don't even like to drive that far.
Yeah, it's basically like going from here down to like Fort Mill. It's
Fort Mill.
a long walk.
Yeah, that's good. And so last year the challenge started near Cashiers, North Carolina, which I'm very familiar with that area. Cashiers Highlands, beautiful spot. Is that where we're starting in 2017 as well?
Yeah, we literally drive right over the border. So
Cool.
you cross right over into Cashiers. We start our hike there, and then you'll actually hike down through Georgia and in parts of South Carolina and finish in South Carolina.
Yeah, that is a beautiful part of the country. My parents actually live very close to there on Lake Kiwi, which is in Seneca, in between Seneca and Walhalla, South Carolina.
Yep. So
the area, growing up or coming home, in college and stuff like that, did a lot of exploring in that area. It's beautiful. So I'm sure that makes the 28.3 go by a little quicker with the scenery.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trail.
And how does the weekend work? You guys start off, you spend the night together at a hotel, and then you're up with the birds the next day to start the hike.
Yeah, earlier than the birds.
Yeah.
We have a hotel that we book for everyone on the Friday, that Friday evening, whether it's May 19th or June 2nd, depending on which weekend the participants are doing. We do a pasta dinner and an opening ceremonies Friday night. We get a couple hours of sleep and then get everybody up at about 4 in the morning on Saturday morning and shuttle everyone out to the trail and actually get on the trail by about 5:15.
Cool.
And Chris, about how many folks in 16 and how many folks are you trying to get on each hike this year?
We try and keep it as authentic as possible on the trail, so we don't want to have 500 hikers going out at once. So we try and limit it to about 75 or 80 participants per event weekend. Obviously, there's some flexibility there, but we had about 85 back in last spring when we did it, back in the May hikes when we did it before. We had about 85 in one weekend and about 70 the other weekend. So it's a good-sized group that gets out there.
Yeah, I mean, is that in total, or are there some sort of guides that kind of go along?
Yeah, so that's just hikers. We'll have
hikers, okay.
volunteer hike leaders who are alumni that are people that are actually doing the trainings and getting the participants ready. They have first aid training. We'll have EMTs and volunteer first responders and things on the trail as well.
Well, so this is no joke. I mean, talking about some preparation, I mean, you all really have to put a lot into this. I mean, I'm sort of reading through. There's some FAQs on the website, which there is a specialized Trailblaze Challenge website. I believe it's Trailblaze Challenge.
.org.
.org.
Trailblazechallenge.org.
I wasn't sure, and it talks about it right here on the website. Specialized training program, including a workout calendar and biweekly group hikes. So there's some accountability, right, to make sure that you're okay and that you're staying on course. Training clinics help out with the equipment, support and coaching. You mentioned the hotel accommodations. You get a cool, dry T-shirt.
Yeah, you get a wonderful T-shirt.
Transportation, Friday night pasta party. I mean, this sounds almost like, it sounds like a marathon.
Yeah, it's set up in a very similar way. It just doesn't have, it's not as fast as a marathon, obviously, because people are not going out and running the 28 miles. We have a few folks that'll get out there and try and do it in 5 or 6 hours and have a time to beat, but most people are doing it in about 10 to 12 hours.
5 to 6 is pretty good for a brisk hike.
It is. That's crazy.
Well, folks, you're listening to At Home with Roby. We are with Chris Weber from Make-A-Wish, and we are talking about the Trailblaze Challenge that they do every year. It's a fundraising effort, right, Chris? And exactly, what is the goal? I mean, how much money are we trying to raise
This
here?
season, we're trying to raise about $500,000 for the Wish kids here in Central and Western North Carolina.
$500,000. That's a lot. Okay, so if I'm interested in participating, you mentioned is trailblazechallenge.org. Is that
That's
where
correct.
I want to go?
Yep.
Okay, so I can literally get off the couch today and I can hike in May.
Yes.
All right, so I got
If you go to the group trainings, you can hike in May.
All right.
Yeah. Got to do a little bit.
I will buy a compass first before I do anything.
You can buy a compass. I'm going to buy a scooter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like one of those little, what do they call them, Edge or something, where you can kind of get on, just in case. I'll kind of put it in my backpack.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Zoolander.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Little Hansel has one of those. I'm sure that's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah,
huh?
well, hey, I'm not going to say no to it. Any way you can get across the finish line. Right?
And it's not an edge, it's a razor. I'm sorry, I should have known that. Okay, Chris, we'll get back on topic here. You have all these informational sessions. There's a whole list of them here that I printed off where people can come in and really hear the nuts and bolts on, this is a 10-minute segment on the radio. But if you really want to learn a lot, you have like 8 or 9 different opportunities throughout Charlotte where a potential participant could come and hear all about this. It looks like the first one is January 24th, and they wrap up all the way to next Tuesday, all the way to February 11th. It looks like you have these at anywhere from Fleet Feet, Huntersville, Bass Pro Shops. I see you have a couple of breweries on here.
Yep.
That's probably a smart move. Did those start a little bit later?
They usually run a little bit later.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's some good networking and some camaraderie with these hikes as well.
Yeah, the folks that end up coming to these meetings and signing up and going to the trainings, you meet people that you're going to be friends with and hike with for years to come. It's a strong group, and just from our alumni base that we have and the people that get together and do these events and social things after the hike. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, it sounds like do you have a core group of people that pretty much do this? This is our thing. We're doing it every year.
Yeah, we have our spring. Usually in the spring, we have a group of about 30 hikers that'll come back every year, just about every spring and do it every May, and do it.
That is awesome, and it looks like there's a Sunday post-hike recognition breakfast. I'm sure that there's some pretty tired folks coming in Sunday morning.
Yeah, the breakfast is probably everyone's favorite part. You look forward to the hike, and then the breakfast, once you've completed the actual hike, it really kind of brings everything full circle, the whole experience.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if I'm going to hike 28.3 miles, I'm not counting my carbs Sunday morning at breakfast. You know what I'm saying?
No calorie counting that day.
Yeah, I mean, it's like loaded up. Give me like 2 scoops of or 2 big helpings of syrup, the whole deal. All right, Chris, so we're coming up towards the end of the segment. We're going to have Rosa Dess on the third segment, and awesome. Rosa is an alumni.
She is.
She and her husband did the Trailblaze Challenge last year. I'm really looking forward to talking to her. Before we get her on, kind of give us, for those that are maybe just tuning in, give us sort of the rundown. Okay, where do I go if I'm interested? That kind of stuff. I know there's a phone number we can call at your office. There's a website. Can you kind of run that down for us?
Yeah, the easiest way to get more information is to go to trailblazechallenge.org, and there's a button on there that says RSVP for an information meeting, and then you just pick your area, and it has a list of all the meetings that are popping up in the Charlotte area. We also do meetings in Asheville and Greensboro, Winston-Salem area as well. And you can RSVP for a meeting. That's the best way to get the most information because we go over, it's about 30 minutes. We cover kind of everything from start to finish.
No, that's great. I was going to ask you how long it would last. So cool. So RSVP just because I RSVP for the info meeting does not mean that I'm automatically signed up.
You're not signed up. You have to come to the meeting, and then we give you everything and you sign up.
Okay, so don't be scared. Come check out the RSVP meeting. Let's get this thing full, $500,000. And if you sort of stay with us through the fourth segment, we'll kind of tell you where that money goes and how these wishes are allocated. You're listening to At Home with Roby. We'll be right back.